It's a long life. There are a million books to read, and I will read them all. Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Sneha, and today I'm here to talk to you about all the amazing books that I read in August and September. I've mentioned this numerous times before. I've recently changed jobs, so it's been really intense and crazy and overwhelming and emotional and all these other adjectives. And it's always been like the first couple of weeks in a month I'm not able to get any reading done because things are just so crazy, and then the last 10 days I managed to read and I managed to center myself again and feel better again. And it's just, reading for me is just the best thing in the world right now. It's my coping mechanism. So yay. I've been on a spree of reading some 5 stars lately, and I'm really excited to sit here and talk to you about them. I'm sorry about my irregular, chaotic upload schedule. I'm trying to be better. I hope to be better. But yeah, for now, let me tell you about all the best books that I've read in August and September. The first 5-star read that I would love to recommend to everybody is a classic, and it is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I don't think this book needs any recognition. I feel like I've read it too late into the game, but let's do it. This is the story of Celie, who is an African American woman who is living in the time between the 2 world wars, and she's living in the deep South in America. So there are a lot of issues that she faces on a day-to-day basis: racism, sexism, abuse, rape. There are a myriad of traumas and horrors that she goes through on a daily basis. The novel is written in the form of letters. Initially, Celie starts off writing these letters addressed to God, but later on, because of certain circumstances, she starts addressing the letters to Nettie, who is a sister, and both of them are separated. So the novel is mainly about these women who go through such horrors, but also still rise so beautifully above their circumstances and manage to be inspiring and warm and noble and brave and just all these amazing things. The minute I started, like the first few pages into this book, I fell in love with the characters, especially Celie, because she goes through so much. Like they're just unimaginable horrors which happen to this woman straight from the get-go of the book. But she is someone who does not stop loving. Like, she's so full of warmth. She is unapologetic about who she loves, about who she wants to protect, about her relationships, and it's just so beautiful to see that in a woman. And the writing, because it's in the form of letters, it's a very blunt statement of facts. There's no sugarcoating it. We are just hearing Celie's own words and Nettie's own words. So it's really brutal in some ways, but it's also really beautiful because the way these women band together, they rise above their circumstances. They're so awe-inspiring. I love the women characters in these books. They felt real. So absolutely loved this book. Please read it if you haven't already. I think I read it very late into the game, but if you haven't, do check it out. Another 5-star read. Actually, I read this one right before The Color Purple. So like I said, it's been a spree of 5-star reads, and I'm so happy about that. I've been reading some really great books. It is On Earth We Have Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. I talked about this book in the haul that I had uploaded when I had bought this book, and I mentioned that I was really looking forward to it because this is a BookTube Bookstagram favorite, and I was really scared going into it because it was a hyped book, but it does live up to the hype. It's beautiful. Please read it. So yeah, this is the story of Little Dog, who is a Vietnamese American. So he's like a first generation immigrant. He moves to America with his mother and grandmother to escape the Vietnam War, and he grows up here. His mother and grandmother don't know how to read or write English, so he is kind of like the medium between the world and his family. So he grows up trying to be the translator for his family. So this book is also actually written in the form of a letter, which is a common theme from The Color Purple. But he writes this letter to his mother, his illiterate mother, basically. He is now, I think, in his late 20s. So he's just addressing her and talking about the various aspects to his life, which he really never talked to her in person about. He talks about how the war impacted him, even though he actually never was directly impacted by it because he was too young to remember when he was in Vietnam, and he spent most of his childhood and his adulthood in the USA. But he talks about how war can impact generations because of the second hand impact, because of because of how children are being raised by parents or adults who are actually impacted by it, who saw firsthand the brutalities and the horrors of war. He also talks about various aspects of his life that he never really went into depth with her. So he talks about his sexuality, his relationships, how he was bullied in school, how he always felt like he was different and he never fit in anywhere. The thing about this book, so that book I loved because of the heroines. This one is because of the language. Ocean Vuong is an award-winning poet, and I don't know about his poetry, but this book is pretty much a poem, because just the beautiful language, the lyricism that he uses, the magical quality to his words is just so heartrending. You know how certain words make the reading experience beautiful and you get transported into a different world? That's how this is, but it's also really traumatizing because it's not pleasant memories that he's talking about. These are really, again, traumatic memories that he's experienced throughout his life. So, oh man, this book is a poem. It's beautifully written. I absolutely love this. As you can see, I've annotated it a lot because there's just so much to take away from this book. I'm so glad this book did not fall prey to, the Bookstar booktube hype, and it delivered. So please read this if you haven't already. So those were all my 5-star reads. Now I have a couple of 4.5-star reads which I would also love to recommend to everybody, and the first of those is Shalimar the Clown by Salman Rushdie. I don't have the book with me because I left it back home. Shalimar the Clown is my first Salman Rushdie. I was a little intimidated to pick up Midnight's Children, which is his most famous work, so I picked up this one and it did not disappoint. The Shalimar the Clown is the story of Shalimar, who grows up in Kashmir, and because of a certain set of circumstances he ends up in America as the chauffeur of a ex-diplomat whose name is Maximilian Offals. He used to be the ambassador to India and he was actually posted in Kashmir. So he has had a relationship with the Valley, but right now he's kind of retired. He's kind of like semi-retired, like it's not really clear what his role in the government is. But Shalimar joins as his chauffeur, and one day he kills Maximilian Offals, and the entire story is basically why he has killed Maximilian Offals. There are all these different characters whose lives are intersected, are interjoined because of certain set of circumstances which the book begins to explain and unravel. This book is a little rambly, I'm not gonna lie. I think again Salman Rushdie is someone who paints worlds with his words, and especially when the way he describes Kashmir and the Valley before the military intervention, during the military intervention and after. So it does talk about the ethnic cleansing that Kashmir faced of the Kashmiri Pandits, and also how the military also invaded it, and also the war that has been happening on the terrorists. So there are all these different geopolitical things that he also talks about, but he also talks about it in a way that it hurts him to see what's been happening to Kashmir, and his words reflect that. So it hurts you to also read about it, to read about Kashmir that way, because even now the state of affairs in Kashmir is heartrending and is heart-wrenching, and to read a book about where it kind of all started. I mean, it's not a geopolitical book, it is a book about these characters that I mentioned, but the situation of Kashmir and Kashmir in itself also plays a huge part in the book. So just reading about the Kashmir of then and comparing it to the Kashmir of now, it really pains you to see how this beautiful land with these beautiful people, they've been put through so much by forces larger than them. So it is an intense book. It is rambly because he sometimes goes off on these tangents that really kind of reduce the reading experience a little bit. So that's why I kind of deducted half a star for it, because I did lose interest in certain points, but I absolutely loved this book. Definitely reading more Rushdie. Again, a little late to the party, I know, but you know what, we will make it up. Another 4.5 stars read for me is Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. I knew that this book I would absolutely love this book because it's Jhumpa Lahiri. I've never not loved anything that she's written. So this book is about a nameless woman who is living in a nameless town. She is a single woman, she lives alone. So it's about her thoughts. The book is essentially a collection of her thoughts about her feelings and her emotions as she goes about her days. So basically the things that she does on a regular basis, the places that she visits, the people that she talks to, her friends, random acquaintances. So it's just a take on solitude. It's a take on urban solitude, and it's really refreshing to read how a woman is set into this world. Usually I don't think solitude is a liberty that is given to women in books, so it's really refreshing to see this particular take on her, where she's just living a life. Like, there's nothing extraordinary happening, there's no action, there's no suspense, there's no nothing. It's just a stream of consciousness that you get to read about, and I related to it a lot. I mean, I don't live alone. I do live in a city, but I don't live alone. But I could still relate to a lot of thoughts that she had about loneliness, about solitude, about independence, and I loved her books. There's something about Jhumpa Lahiri's words that those experiences that she's talking about are not yours. I mean, there's no shared consciousness in these experiences that she talks about, but it's just so beautifully captured. Like, it almost feels like she takes the thoughts that you're thinking out of your head, but she puts it into words, and it's really difficult for you to articulate these thoughts. But when you read her words, you're like, that's what I was thinking, that's what I wanted to articulate. I used to think that my favorite kind of books were books which consume me. Like, I can't keep them aside. I can't think of anything else but these books. But I think lately I've started to really enjoy these books which they seem slow, but there's so much thought and there's so much beauty to these books that leave you thinking way later, even after the pages turn or the book is shut. And there's just something so special about these books, and this one is a book like that. So absolutely love this book. I will continue to be a fangirl of Jhumpa Lahiri. I will read everything that she's ever written, and you should too. And yeah, those are my best books of August and September. I have read other books as well, which maybe I'll talk to you in some other video, but these ones I absolutely loved. I was dying to recommend to you all, and I loved it feels really nice to be back in front of a camera, just rambling about my favorite things, and I hope to do that very, very soon. I hope to be back, and thank you so much for watching. If you are still here, thank you. It means the world to me that you're still here, and I will see you very, very soon, I promise. Bye.